steps have helped keep us safe and helped keep our troops safe. Those are the result of diplomacy. We don't have strong efforts there, the more you will be called upon to clean up after the failure of diplomacy.
We were able to find a solution that actually removed the chemical weapons that were known from Syria in a way that the use of force would never have accomplished.
Well, there you see President Obama, December 2016, then Susan Rice, just in January 16th this year. In April of 16, the State Department had a report called The Compliance with the Convention on Prohibition of the Development, Production, Stockpiling, and Use of Chemical Weapons, in which it said, this is a State Department report, the United States cannot certify that the Syrian Arab Republic is in compliance with its obligations under this CWC. The United States assesses that Syria did not declare all the elements of its chemical weapons program required by Article 3 of the CWC, and that Syria may retain chemical weapons as defined by the CWC. In addition to assess CW, chemical weapons use, and maintenance of residual chemical weapons capability, Syria failed to meet most of its milestone destruction dates. Syria was obligated to declare its entire chemical weapons program. The Syrian declaration contained obvious gaps, discrepancies, and omissions, as detailed above, thus placing Syria in non-compliance with the CWC declaration requirements and the additional declaration requirements. Bottom line, what the president and his national security advisor were saying was not true. Let's bring in our panel. Charles Hurt, opinion editor for The Washington Times. Leslie Marshall, syndicated talk radio host and syndicated columnist, Charles Krauthammer. Okay, Charles, let's start with U.S. policy to Syria now. And are we figuring out more of what the administration is trying to do?
I don't think the administration itself is sure what it's trying to do. It succeeded in doing one thing, sending a message to the whole world that we're not going to be walked over, we are going to respond. And when we do, it'll be decisive and it'll be quick. The days of hand-wringing and the days of assuming the U.S. will do nothing, no matter how much it's provoked in the Middle East, are over. But as to the specifics of where we go in Syria now, I think what we're getting out of the administration is perhaps unintended strategic ambiguity, meaning everybody in the administration has a particular view and it hasn't been harmonized. I don't think it matters that much, because even if we decided we're going to do regime change, we are not going to marshal the means that would bring it about. We're not going to invade. So that will be sort of a theoretical issue. We get Nikki Haley saying, yes, we got to have regime change. We have the Secretary of State saying, well, we're going to do ISIS first. The fact is we are going to do ISIS first. We are not going to have a policy of active regime change. But we are telling the Russians, Iranians, Hezbollah, and Assad there are limits to what we will tolerate, and that, I think, will help to restrain what looked to be an unassailable and unstoppable winning strategy on the part of Assad. So his future is in limbo now in a way that it hadn't been before, and that's a big achievement.
There is a lot of